Hello and welcome to another episode of Terrifying Films I Saw Far Too Young. Another one. Today I'm talking about the 1996 classic that brought back this slasher genre. Obviously I'm talking about Scream. Originally titled Scary Movie, which was actually later used as a parody for the film. If you've all seen Scary Movie, it's quite funny. Directed by Wes Craven, who, as you all know, made Last House on the Left, Hills of Eyes, Swamp Thing, and another film where the villain has knives for fingers. Written by Kevin Williamson, whom actually wanted to direct Scream, but he had no experience. They actually got him to do a director's test where he filmed the bathroom scene with the killer wearing a Michael Myers mask from Halloween and was told to keep to writing. I believe he might be directing something soon, but not yet. So, with any horror film in the 90s, I was too young to see it in the cinema. So, when it came out, I had to wait for the VHS release. Remember the VHSs, the big box things? Back then, there was a video rental store up the road from us, and I asked the parents to take me to get a movie. Getting Scream was a bit tricky, as it wasn't 18. Here in the UK, you've got to be over 18 to rent or get an 18. But as responsible parents, they obviously said sure.
At the video store, I thought they fired your sorry ass.
If you've not seen Scream, spoilers ahead. Spoilers. As always, there will be spoilers. Scream starts with Drew Barrymore, who at the time in 1996 was a massive star. I'm not saying she's not a big star now, with her like chat show and stuff, and what she's been saying about strike. We don't really get that here in the UK. She's still a massive star. Well, a lot of people would think she's the main character, as many people believed it was her on the poster. But I'll show the original concept, as you can see from the original source. Here or here, I can't remember where I'm going to put it, with a bit of Photoshop, well, pre-Photoshop actually. There's lots of different things they did. They zoomed in, flipped it, added blue eyes, and Bob's Your Uncle, the iconic poster. The artwork for Scream is recognisable instantly, like many others, Jaws, Psycho, Jurassic Park. You all recognise it from the poster. So, Drew Barrymore, I can't remember her character's name, Casey, I think. Well, she's at home, waiting to watch a scary movie and making some popcorn when the phone rings.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes?
Who is this?
Who are you trying to reach?
What number is this?
I think it's just a wrong number. They have a little bit of a chat, and that's that. Well, the phone rings again, and that's where things start to get a bit spicy.
You never told me your name.
Why do you want to know my name?
I want to know who I'm looking at.
What did you say?
Drew is then set a quiz to save her boyfriend's life, who's tied up outside. A series of horror movie questions, which she fails, and well, that's the end of her boyfriend. Because, you know, it is a horror. It's a very tense opening scene, actually. You're willing for her to get the questions right, but also as a horror fan, you want to see her fail. We see Ghostface for the first time. Another iconic villain. Over the years, you know, there's been many in the horror genre. Freddy, Michael, Jason, Ghostface now. Chucky as well, don't forget Chucky. The thing about Ghostface is it's a mystery. You don't know who it is. Unlike Freddy, Michael, Jason, you know who they are. You know that when you see them, they're up to no good. So Casey, is brutally murdered, and that's the intro. That's Scream. That's the start of Scream. With Scream, much like Psycho, they kill off the major star at the start, which was a shock to many, especially in Psycho, Jamie Lee Curtis's mum. We then move on to Neve, or Sydney, whose boyfriend Billy Loomis, who appears. Did you know the surname Loomis is actually a nod from the Halloween movies of Dr. Loomis? So Billy comes across as a tad bit creepy at this point. I mean, you've only just been introduced by him and you think he's a bit creepy. But did you know Leonardo DiCaprio, actually, Big Leo, did a screen test for the role of Billy? Crazy. I wonder how that film would have turned out if Leo played Billy.
Oh, close call.
We then have the next day. Sydney's going to school, meeting up with her pals, her friends, her buddies, Tatum, Stu, Randy. The police are there, obviously, to question students about the murder if they know anything about them, because obviously this is their classmate that's been murdered. Also, we learn that the Fonz, Henry Winkler, is actually their principal. He's actually left out the credits, I believe, so that, you know, they didn't want too many cameos and people going, oh, it's about him. There's many cameos in this film, actually. Linda Blair from The Exorcist plays a reporter at one point, and Wes Craven has a cameo.
Sydney Prescott. She was daughter of...
The film moves on to Sydney going home, and it's a simple build-up of tension by Wes Craven. He likes to do that. We learn about what's happened to Sydney's mum.
Only a year ago, Maureen Prescott, wife and mother, was found raped and murdered not far from this peaceful town square.
By none other than Monica Geller, as in Gail Weathers, played by Courtney Cox, who's actually met her future ex-husband, David Arquette, while filming Scream.
So you do watch the show?
I'm 25. I was 24 for a whole year.
Sydney is attacked by Ghostface, but manages to escape, only for Billy to turn up at that exact moment. That's obviously pointing fingers straight at Billy to be the killer. Sydney emails the police. I don't really know how she did this. She sent like an email, an MSN message to the police. Police arrive, take Billy away.
What do you got, Dewey? I caught him, Sheriff. Wait. Who is that? Billy Loomis. Sir.
Billy's questioned, and Sydney goes to Tatum's house, whose brother, Dewey, is actually a deputy at the police force, who's played by David Arquette. Gail turns up with a camera, trying to figure out what's been going on, report a story, and Sydney decides to punch her in the face. The killer calls Sydney at Tatum's house, giving the hint that Billy actually isn't the killer because he's in jail, so maybe it's not Billy. The next day at school, Sydney runs into Billy, who's obviously been let out of jail, as there's not enough evidence to convince him that he's actually the killer. Billy acts like a twat, saying his mum leaving his dad is the same as her mum being murdered. It's not. Billy is a idiot.
Stupid.
Right, if you're enjoying this rundown of Scream, why not hit the like button, and while you're there, the subscribe button is like just next to it. With loads more coming out, loads more coming soon. Well, that's the same thing. With horror movie reactions, full-length reactions, which you can get on our Patreon, and even comedies, just for a laugh. Why not? Right, back to Scream. The Fonz is back, expelling 2 students for playing a prank. At this point, the Fonz says something which basically describes the killing of what happened to Drew Barrymore at the start. It's literally word for word what actually happened to her. So I kind of, when I first saw this, I was like, maybe he's the killer. And Sydney is then attacked in the toilets, so he's part of the school. Courtney Cox and Deputy Dewey have a little moment, and then the Fonz is getting harassed, someone knocking on his door, and at this point is where we get the cameo for Wes Craven.
Oh, shit.
What'd you call me? Huh?
Not your friend.
Wes Craven dressed as Freddy Krueger, basically, the red and green jumper thing on the hat, and he's playing the janitor. That's Wes Craven's cameo. The Fonz is then killed by the Ghostface, so it ain't him. Another interesting fact about Ghostface, the costume actually isn't called Ghostface, it's called Father Death. Interesting, I know, right? All these little facts. The police find out that the calls are coming from Sydney's dad's mobile phone, and they've decided to, hunt Sydney's dad down because it's leading up to the 1-year anniversary of the murder of Sydney's mum, so maybe he snapped. And the film moves on to Stu, who's one of Sydney's friends and Billy's friends, having a party because the police have put a curfew on the town, so they just go to a house and they find they're indoors. The party scene actually lasts about 40 minutes. Loads of kills, loads of iconic moments. One from Randy, who's one of the friends, telling you the rules of how to survive a horror movie.
Christ, you don't know the rules?
Have an aneurysm, why don't you?
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie. For instance, number 1, you can never have sex.
Gail and Dewey turn up and they come to the party to snoop. Gail leaves a camera there to basically spy on everyone. And Tatum goes to get some beer, but she is actually killed by Ghostface. She's actually crushed trying to run away. She's crushed by a garage door escaping. It's not that gory, but it's like, oh dear, she's dead. So that's another one dead. Dewey gets a call that Sydney's dad's car is actually being spotted down the road from the house. So Dewey asks Gale to go for a walk and look for it.
You're not scared, are you?
Billy then shows up and wants to talk to Sydney to basically apologise for what he said earlier. He then convinces her to, well, you know, break one of the horror movie rules.
Big no-no! Big no!
I'm a dead man.
Women popcorn. Sex equals death.
The kids at the party get a call that LaFont is dead and his body's hanging from the the American football posts at their high school. So loads of them leave to go see it before it's pulled down. They all drive off really fast, making Dewey and Gale dive into the bushes. At this point, they have a kissy moment, obviously. And then they spot Sydney's dad's car. Then suddenly, Sydney still isn't sure about Billy, because I wasn't sure, but Ghostface bursts in behind him. Ghostface then stabs Billy, and then starts chasing Sydney around the house.
Oh my god.
Sydney.
Billy, watch out!
Where she goes to the Gale's cameraman's van. He's out there. He's looking back. He gets attacked. His throat is sliced. Dewey goes back into the house and looking around. Gale goes to the camera van, finds him with his throat slit, drives off, crashes the van. Stupid. Sydney is still looking for help, calling for Dewey, only to find him with a knife in his back, and Ghostface starts chasing her again. It's very tiring, but Ghostface is not very good at capturing Sydney. Sydney escapes again, obviously, goes back into the house where Randy and Stu appear, both calling out each other as a killer. Sydney can't decide, so she takes Dewey's gun and locks herself in Stu's house. Suddenly, Billy emerges at the top of the stairs. I know, he's been killed. What the hell? And he stumbles down the stairs in loads of pain. He's been stabbed and all this crap. He then opens the door and Randy bursts in. At this point, Billy turns and quotes Anthony Perkins from Psycho.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
No, Billy!
I know the shock. The actual shock. Spoiler, obviously. Billy is the killer. Sydney turns to run but bumps into Stu, who pulls out one of the voice changing things, and it's the killers are both Billy and Stu.
Surprise, Sydney.
Well, ridiculous. I know. They plan to frame her dad for the killing and make them the only survivors, stabbing each other, making it look like they survived some horrific massacre at this house. Stu, the comic relief in a way, loses the gun, only to find Gale standing there, who's somehow survived the crash. Goes to shoot him, but the safety's on and she kicks him down and she's knocked out. At this point, Sydney has escaped and begins to mess with them. She has now gotten the Ghostface outfit and is dressed as Ghostface and starts calling them, and then attacks them, kills Stu by dropping a TV on his head, stabs Billy with an umbrella. That'll be painful. But he still was trying to attack her, going for the killer blow. Then Gale has woken up and shoots Billy to turn to safety of this time. Randy, who is somehow still alive, as he was only shot in the shoulder, says that this is the part when the killer comes back for one last scare. That's it. That's Scream. It is one of my favourite modern horror slasher movies. The who done it or who is the killer part is the stand-up part for me. It cost $14 million to make and made $173 million at the box office, well, worldwide, which makes it one of the most successful horror films. There are 5 sequels, with the 6th sequel coming out, or the 7th film coming out soon, I think, if the strikes are all sorted. The first 2 were written by Kevin Williams. The third one wasn't. The third one is probably the worst. There was an 11-year gap between 3 and 4. Fourth one was written by Kevin, and Wes was back directing. And then there was the Scream 5, which is pretty much a reboot. Nothing will beat the original. It's subtle comedy, mostly from Matthew Lillard, who plays Stu, and Randy, played by Jamie Kennedy. It's got brutal killings. Scream is a classic, another classic from Wes Craven. The movie will live on forever as one of his best. With Wes passing away in 2015, he wasn't able to direct, obviously, the 5th installment, but they named a character after him and they killed him off because, well, reckon Wes would have wanted him to be killed off. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this rundown, reaction, review, general chat about another movie I saw far too young. What is your favourite scary movie? This is Scream. Write in the comment section. Let us know down below. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button because we'll be doing loads more. And I even asked her what film she saw far too young. I think she did say it might have been South Park the movie. It's not horror, but it's, you know, seeing that far too young can mess with you. Anyhow, until next time, I will see you later. Typical. Thank you for watching this episode. You can check out our other videos around my face. And don't forget to subscribe.